This time, Halloween edition.
Yes. Welcome to Purling Proletariat. We are your hosts, Joey,
Cameron.
and our very special guest. I'm going that way.
Gabe.
Hi.
So I'll do a little intro on your behalf and you can elaborate from there.
Sure.
Gabe is a dear friend and also fantastic local creative with mediums including zines, drag, fiber works. Would you say, is that fair to say? Yeah.
Sometimes.
And jewelry making of the cutest little things that are not typically jewelry. Ta-da. Also music.
Yeah. Am I just giving a spiel?
Yeah, feel free
my
to
life?
share whatever it is about.
Well,
What's that? The tea.
The tea. BRB.
The tea literal in preparation for the tea metaphorical.
Yeah. Yes. And I guess we could also say that we are keeping it in the Harrisburg area extended universe by bringing Gabe in because they are partial. Since it's a collective, I can't even say proprietor, but like one piece of the Garden Collective. We talked about Dre last time. Gabe is also a part of that.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Just imagine if we, it's like the Infinity Stones. We'll just gather every single one of them.
Oh God.
Next time we'll have Lou, and maybe someday we'll get Honey.
Yes. Yes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the for this specific app, I'm just gonna pay the fee so we can have guests and extra cameras because I realized for this being a crafting webcast, you can't always see crafting.
So true.
Phone somewhere so they can also see my hands.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Oh, very smart. We're doing some background setup for a tea table. Oh my God, that's so cute. I love it.
I see Beanie Babies in the background. I love that.
Oh my gosh, always Beanie Babies. Gabe, do you want to share anything about your Beanie Babies? Do you want to find your yeah?
Actually, it might be all the way up at the top.
Oh.
I actually went thrifting yesterday. 1 second.
Ooh. Okay, we have a new addition to the Beanie Baby family here.
All right.
In the household. So what is it, Joey, that you are crafting today?
I am still working on my sock. I have been on it. I don't know if I was working on this specific sock the last time. I've been on and off with this sock because I realized that Thanksgiving is coming up a lot sooner than I realized. And I have tiny people to make little ornaments for. So I needed to work on that.
Yeah. Great. That's fantastic. Please share.
I guess I'll just start with me.
Yeah.
I'm Gabe. The pronouns are fine. Yeah, I'm a multimedia artist. I do a lot of different things. I have ADHD, so, I can't stick to one thing ever. But I have been doing a lot of jewelry making in the past 4 years. I'm still trying to figure out what I want my collections to look like. I feel like I'm still learning every day. I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to find more books and stuff. The hard part about jewelry making is if you don't know the name of something, it's really, really hard to look it up online. Yeah, sometimes I was trying to make these necklaces. I was calling them like junk necklaces and like just trying to like trash necklace, and that wasn't really coming up. And then like I came across a TikTok or something that said like clutter. No, actually, an artist that I follow on Instagram posted a necklace in their story that someone else made, and then one of the tags that that person used said clutter necklace. And I was like, oh, so once I was able to do that, I could plug it into Pinterest, and like I was able to get so much more information about like how those necklaces are made and what like the components of them are. So yeah, jewelry making is just like a lot of fun. I really like clothes and like fashion a lot. And I'm very interested in Japanese fashion, specifically decora, which is just like essentially it's like you are decorating yourself from head to toe. And I feel it almost feels silly to say that it's like beautiful to me, but like to be able to like just drip myself in like accessories of like all different colors and textures, and like just to be like a walking piece of art is like so amazing to me. So I really strive to make pieces that, regardless, like if you are more of a minimalist or like you are like a maximalist, like when you're wearing these pieces, like you feel like you're a work of art, you know what I mean? Like you feel just like you are decorating yourself and all these wonderful things. So yeah, I love making jewelry a lot, and I'm just like excited to kind of see where I go from here. I've got like a couple markets and pop-ups lined up over the next 2 months, so I'm really excited about that.
Do you want to plug your socials and where you can be found and your artwork?
I was like legitimately getting ready to like, I was like, yeah, I'll just put it in the chat.
Oh wait, does it go? Oh wait, can we do that? Joey, do we have that option? No.
We can. I still would plug it because I don't know if the chat saves because of how Twitch is. It will like condense after a little while, but when I put it on YouTube, I will link everything in there as well. So
Amazing.
you want to plug it out loud, and then I can do a follow up in the text after.
I feel like I just changed my handle, which it feels so. Maybe I'm just a dramatic person, but like I changed my handle like a couple of years ago, and I legitimately like had a conversation with Dre about it because I was like, I don't know, I'm just feeling like really nervous. Like it's just so funny, like how online identities like work. Like they're so interesting. But anyway, it is my personal is Strange Shape, but it's strange with a 3 instead of an E. Strange Shape. And you can find my art at Mix Darling Creations. That's MX Darling Creations, because I'm gay.
Because I'm gay.
Yeah.
Love it. Beautiful. Yeah. No, I really enjoy the well, I think okay, so there's like a lot of things for me that I like connected to in creative spaces, as like one of the topics Joey and I have talked about is like how being like a maker also coincides with like resistance of dominant hegemony, etc., like consumerism, like fat phobic beauty standards, cis white heteronormative beauty standards, those kinds of things, and thinking about like the ways that your work is just like a celebration, I think is really I don't know, is really powerful for like just how individuals feel personally, but also powerful in the sense of like, yeah, I don't know, being a like queer trans person of color who is making this self-adornment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really cool. And I
Thanks.
enjoy it. Anytime I'm like, I need to feel like a bad bitch today, I'll put on my little sleigh candy.
Yes.
so Gabe made me a little, I should have worn it, a little bracelet that says slay, because I started saying it ironically, because my like Gen Z coworkers would say it all the time, and then I couldn't stop saying it.
Did I tell you what the kids called me? One of my kids, they called me Slabriel.
Stop.
I love that. I love everything about that. Oh my
I made a pin that's on one of my bags
God.
that says Slabriel. I have a sticker of like a skeleton person like riding a skateboard or something. It's so cute.
Oh my God.
But yeah,
That's beautiful.
I understand why adults like hate teenagers, but I also feel like they often forget what it means to be a teenager, to like feel like a teenager. You know what I mean? Like I definitely, I don't know. I don't think I ever anticipated working with kids like in this capacity, really. But I'm not sure if I have talked to you about this, but I was like a child hater for like a long time.
Yeah.
And like, I understand now, like I realized like a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, you're jealous. Like you're mad. You're upset because like they have all this like creativity and wonder and like self-expression, and like the world has taken you and crunched you down into something that you know you don't want to be. So you're like projecting onto these like it's only their third day out here. Like they don't know what they're doing.
They're
like,
brand new.
They're trying to figure this shit out. But I'm glad that I work with teenagers. I also like I like the way that like they view the world, and I love like crafting with them, because like so prior to COVID, I was doing zine workshops. Like I did like one at like Dickinson. I did one at like one of the local libraries in Lemoyne, I think. And that was really cool because so for a long time, when I would make a zine, like I would have to use like an X-Acto knife to like cut out the middle. And then when I did that zine workshop, this kid just like folded the paper hamburger style and cut it with a pair of scissors. And I was like, I never thought to do like that. That made things so much easier for me. And it's just like little things like that, like somebody, or like even like another zine workshop I did, like they were like unfolding it and like putting like little hidey spots on the inside. It's just so cool. I think it also is just like nice because it reminds me like of myself and how like hungry I was for like to just like explore and like create things. You know what I mean?
I know when I work with teenagers, it always gives me like hope for how things can play out, because I don't know, they're just the generation that are in their teens now. I don't even think that's Gen Z. It's like something at this point.
Yeah.
But their outlook and the things they understand about the world are, I just think I would be much better off as an adult if I had understood those things when I was a teenager. So the beginning of this, Cam and I explained our careers like in the Barbie movie. Like, you know, I'm just school. That's just my job is school. But every time I school with teenagers, it's just more fun. I said this to a colleague yesterday. I don't understand why people despise teenagers, actually. And what you just said about like being jealous, I think that you're spot on, because, you know, they're at the point of their lives where they're just experimenting with all of this and have not developed like the fears about just being themselves in public yet.
I was gonna say, for a time period that, like, I don't know, I feel like culturally is very associated with like self-consciousness. Oh my God, it all comes back to Barbie, fucking Barbie. I can't stop. No, where like the line when she goes into the real world and she's like, I'm very aware, like I'm conscious, but it's of myself. But no, like I think for, you know, the typical way that we think of like teenagers or like middle school, like that range is like, oh, you're like so self-conscious, you're so like, oh no, I'm afraid to do. And to some extent, sure, I guess like that's where I think probably awareness of social pressure and conformity maybe like starts. But looking at the times where I've worked with that population of like like preteens or like very early adolescents, thinking like, okay, no, like the jealousy piece of it coming in of like, no, these people are so much less inhibited than like you grow up to be. And maybe, who knows, maybe that's thanks to some good old frontal lobe development, but like also just that social learning piece of like, oh, this form of self-expression or like this means of communicating is not like received well, so I'm going to learn to not do it. But like that social learning really has not occurred to the extent that it has for adults in that population. I don't know.
I think I told you this story before, but last year when I was doing a lot of small groups, we were going through an entire unit series on like, it was a sex ed class. So we got to a point of like discussing gender identities, and I wanted to make sure that I mentioned like that there's a lot of cultural stuff around that. So I played a video about identifying as two-spirit, and I just had one teenager raise her hand, and she looked at me and went, so it's all fake. Gender's just none of it's real. I went, no.
None of it's real?
Okay. And like, just okay, well,
So sorry.
I accept that, and I'm gonna move on.
Right.
We too find out about
like that was really all it took. It's just she received the information and went, oh, good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh my God. It's like the astronaut meme where it's the astronauts looking at Earth, but Earth is gender, and the one guy is like, so it's fake? It always was.
Yeah. Yep. So bad. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
It just feels like such a waste of time.
So I know that we didn't have like a theme going into today other than like Halloween guest.
Then we dressed up.
Right. But what I think I'm sensing like coming together is this concept of creation as an aspect of like self-adornment, and the like costume, both like literal and also like metaphorical in that development into adulthood of like, what do you put on every day, and like what is, I don't know, socially significant. I don't know. I think also the fact that I'm like doing a little patch that's like God loves fags. I'm like everything is like social signaling. Everything is like even there's like a very queer aspect to like fall season coming around and wearing like little beanies and like little infinity scarves, and somebody being like, oh, that's so cute, and like the queer energy of like, thanks, I made it myself. Like, to me parallels the like, oh, thanks, I love that name, and me quipping like, thanks, I chose it myself. Like yeah, I don't know. So in that like aspect of things, I don't know, does anybody want to talk about like the ways that crafting and queerness and like making of the self interact?
Can I show my Beanie Babies?
Yeah. This is making of the self. This is Gabe lore.
The platypus was always my favorite. I'd see it, and because purple was always my favorite, the platypus was always my favorite. It was the first one I ever got. I got it as a McDonald's
The babies.
You've unlocked a part of my brain
So
for a long time.
as Cam said, adding to Gabe lore, I am a Beanie Baby collector. At last count, which needs to be updated, I have about 133 Beanie Babies. Yeah, every time I say that out loud, I'm like, damn, that's like a lot. Like that's a lot of things to own. But they're like scattered throughout. Like I have some in my car. My drag dad got me a sign for my car that says Beanie Babies on board, like the babies on board. But it's not in like the back window because I don't want people to think that I have a child. But anyway, so yeah, I got this one yesterday. That is the platypus. I love so there's a lot of different like types, but these are like, I think they're called Beanie Buddies. Yeah, they're the Beanie Buddies collection, and they're just like so soft. They're just like the perfect size. And then I think I mentioned I really love clothes and fashion. I started posting outfit videos on Instagram a couple years ago after I moved into my amazing house. And I started this thing where I will match a Beanie Baby with my outfit. A lot of them are like tucked away right now, but I did grab this one. This would probably be the one. I'm wearing the black skirt. I know this isn't pink, but yeah, I don't know what it is. There's just I'm obsessed with toys in general, but I just love soft, cute things. I'm trying to tie that back to creation somehow. I'm like,
it doesn't have to, because existing every day is an act of self-creation. So, you know.
And just leaning into your own interests and not have to second guess and go like, that's weird. Like, why do I? Like my back, you can't really see from here, but I have a really weird combination of old toys and just pictures of butts.
Nice. Very nice.
And that's part of it though, is just like not compartmentalizing that hard.
Yeah.
About what makes you feel good and you.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm feeling very pulled to say this.
Are we in a Quaker meeting? Are you
I
feeling
know,
the spirit
I'm
lead you?
just like, so the spirit is calling me to share. So Joey actually sent me a post from this like trans therapist who is running this like trans masculine weekly like meeting support group, I guess. And there's like different questions and topics and whatever to sort of facilitate each week. But I think I'm like really leaning into that like soft little like trans masculine like therapeutic space of like, so I just want to like own where I'm going. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like in this place of I don't know, like seasons of being and like the ways things circle back around. I don't know, because you're like tying it to creation. I'm also feeling like a very inner child healing vibe, which I think is something that is like pretty shared common ground that the three of us have. So yeah, I don't know. I think that creativity and like finding the ways to take some of the like rules off of ourselves is another aspect of that like creation, but also like inner child healing.
Well, that's because I'm going to tie it back to the teenager thing from very near past. Do you feel like your teenage self would be happy to know you?
Ooh.
I think that I'm getting there. I think that, like, going back to the inner child thing, my house is like a museum. Like there's every corner there's something to look at, there's something to touch, like there's colors all over the place. And I lived in a house with like a couple other people in a really tiny room for a couple years. And I think that being able to like be in my own space and also like decorate the entire space the way I want it has been really healing. But I also like, I still love pink, but there was just like, my room was just like covered in pink. And it was nice for like a couple years to wake up to this soft pastel paradise. But then one morning I just woke up and I was like, there's so much fucking pink in here. So I feel like now I'm shifting, I'm redecorating, and it's more of like a black and red, like black and dark purple theme. And like, I don't know why like personal change like kind of like stresses me out so much. Well, I do. Touch on that in a minute if I can remember. But I felt kind of nervous to shift into this like, yeah, I felt like, I don't think that my inner child is like healed completely necessarily, but I almost feel like I took like one step up from like healing like the like baby version of me. Now I'm headed towards like the teenage version of me. And on one hand, it's like kind of exciting and cool. And I do think like when I am in a rut, sometimes I think like, okay, what would like teenage me like want to do in the situation? It's like, oh, you feel like shit? You should listen to that All American Rejects album that you have on vinyl and lay on the floor and cry. Like you should just, that would be amazing. That'd be awesome. And it's exciting to realize that I'm kind of at this point, but it's also like sometimes really discouraging because I feel like I'm so far behind everyone else. Like just like, I don't know if developmentally is like the right word necessarily, but, and maybe it's just like the autism, but I just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm starting to get the hang of what it means to be like an adult as far as like my 20s, but like socially it's like not there in the ways that I feel like it should be considering I'm like in my 30s. But I'm just trying to show myself some grace, I guess, and a little bit of patience. But yeah, I think that teenage me would be like, this is rad. I mean, like I have an art studio, which is crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never would have thought.
Do you think that like if you like, do you, okay, I don't know if you've like heard the like be the, I don't know, like adult that you needed like growing up kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, does that resonate with you, especially as you're like now working with that like younger population?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like trying not to get like too deep into like trauma and stuff, but I will just touch and say that there weren't a lot of adults paying attention to me when I was like a youth. And it really like it hit like a breaking point when I was, what was that? I think like my senior year of college. Like I had been, so like I'd gotten diagnosed with ADHD when I was in like 11th or 12th grade. And then I was on medication for like a month. And then my mom just never got a refill because she didn't believe that ADHD was a real thing, which is great. She's a counselor now, which is fucking weird. So I basically went untreated for like the ADHD and like impending like the depression and anxiety until I was like 20. And like I'd almost flunked out of school. Like the first year of college, I was doing really, really well. And then I met this girl on MySpace.
God.
Yeah. I met this girl on MySpace.
Yeah.
From Texas. It was crazy.
The very old set.
Yeah. And I went from passing all of my classes to failing 3 out of 4 classes in one semester, and not a single person being like, "Are you okay? Do you need help? Like, what is going on?" So yeah, I really try. I think that in some ways, I feel like I've gotten a little bit better with my job now, but I feel like when I first started, I was like, I need to be the perfect, like I need to have every single answer. Like the thing for me, I'm a problem solver. And I had to learn that most of the time, oftentimes these teenagers, they're not really looking for like a solution. They just want someone to listen to them. They just want someone to hear them be like, school fucking sucked today. So and so like misgendered me, or like XYZ happened, and I'm just like in a bad mood. So I just try to, to be there to listen. And the one thing that I learned as well was a habit that I had was like, if they mentioned something, I'd be like, oh, I don't like that. I'd be like, oh, like one of my kids is like really into RuPaul's Drag Race. And it's just like, I don't know. I have a lot of issues with RuPaul. I really don't like him. I don't really like the show. I don't like the culture. Like, it's cool that drag is more mainstream now, but like the culture that RuPaul's Drag Race has created as a drag performer, who doesn't watch Drag Race, like most of the shows, like whether in like this like city or like Lancaster or wherever, everything's a competition. Like everyone is like in competition with one another, and it's just so irritating to me because like it's supposed to be a community. We're supposed to support each other. It's supposed to be about the artistry, not who has the most followers or who is like tried out for RuPaul's Drag Race for the 5th time or what the fuck ever. But anyway, I had some kids, and like I really had to start biting my tongue because it made me think about when I was a kid. Like I was really passionate. I am still pretty passionate about music, but I would run into this issue where like I would get excited about talking about something, and like an adult would be like, oh, that's stupid, or like, oh, I don't know, you listen to that. Like I remember trying to talk to my dad about like music. Like I asked him like, oh, like, do you listen to Amy Winehouse? And he was like, no, I'm not going to listen to that shit. And then like, he was really, this is so funny in retrospect, but he was really into Jay-Z. And do you guys remember I don't know if it's like an EP that Jay-Z and Linkin Park did together?
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, like I wasn't a huge Linkin Park fan, but I was like, oh my God, I like rock music. My dad likes Jay-Z. And again, it was the same shit. I don't listen to that shit. I'm like, bro, can you just like try and relate to me for 2 fucking seconds? I swear that man is autistic. I'd be surprised if he's not.
God, I love that.
It's always the dad.
It's fun fact. It's my mom.
Oh, really?
Wait, Joey, knowing both of my parents, is it my mom?
It's just in different ways.
So true, and probably fair. Oh my God. Yeah. But oh my God. Yeah. And I like that, the recognition of being like, okay, I can disagree as an adult with something that like a literal child is into, and like maybe I don't have to tell them all the reasons that like they should, because like right, because like
again, it's only their like 4th day out here, and I'm not trying to kill their spirit, unless it's something that's like actually harmful, you know what I mean? Like if they're like talking about like being a fan of someone who's like anti-Semitic, or like, because like they're on YouTube and stuff, and sometimes I'm just like, this is like, this is not it. But
what a cesspool.
I also like I feel kind of fortunate, and I don't really have to deal with that as much. Like I say this in a joking way, but I also mean it. If I had to work with straight teenagers, I don't think that I could do it. Like I think that being able to work with queer youth is like different and interesting, in that like a lot of the problems that you do have with like straight teenage boys, you don't really have with like queer kids.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice.
I agree. I agree with that assessment from having a pool of both.
Yeah. I was gonna say I used to work with this one teen in particular, and okay, I'm about to this is an opinion that is probably cancelable.
Oh geez.
So
Take time. Let's go.
So when it comes to particularly but not always white, but almost always boys who are teens and autistic, there is this like penchant / like risk zone of like being pulled into like far right spaces
Yes.
of because things are very rigid, very like black and white, very
it's a framework that already kind of it fits their I don't want to say puzzle piece because that's fucking stupid.
I know, fuck that.
Like, the cogs kind of fit together already, and it becomes a more comfortable. I mean, you and I talked about this with the religious trauma thing too. Like, when you're a person that wants there to be a black and white answer, you're gonna find things that make sense to you that way, that don't stretch your brain too far.
Right. And so often I think there's like the teenage boy risk of that in general, of like falling prey to those like gross like YouTube pipelines where the fucking algorithm just feeds you like more and more insidious like right-wing content. But I think when it comes to the messaging around like being disenfranchised or being like misunderstood and having this like community of people who get you, like that even more so for like teenage boys with autism are like, oh my God, that's so true. Like nobody gets me. And like, I'm going to have all this anger about it. And here's somebody that gets me. And they're saying that these people are the problem. Like I had a teenager that I worked with who I was like genuinely concerned was like going to become a like, not exaggerating, like a neo-Nazi, because he created this like anti-populars club. Yeah. And also
starts out good.
Also was really into fucking German military music.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm like, how do I speak to this boy's like, so this boy was like a first generation, I'm going to give like vague, but like first generation child of immigrant parents from an Asian country. And I'm like, how do I go to this child's parents where like my role is not to prevent someone from becoming an alt-right shitlord. Like that's not my job, but one of my jobs is to like help create a space for these children where they can have a community and the skills to navigate that community in a way that is like satisfying for them socially. And so like this is a behavior that is a barrier to that. Right? But like, how do I go to his parents who come from a completely different cultural background where they don't have the same maybe like red flags that like I, as a person who like has grown up seeing this over and over and over sort of thing, like how do you have that conversation? And what ultimately happened, and I don't like love this, but like what ultimately happened was I just didn't, because it wasn't relevant to treatment. But I'm like, how do we tackle that? How do we create spaces of belonging that aren't that?
Yeah. I always feel like it's which kind of grandpa is this kid gonna become? Like Rain's grandpa who eats lunch at the same time every day, or grandpa who we don't really invite to the functions anymore because he makes things really uncomfortable.
Train's grandpa. I love that. I had this is a complete, well, okay, no, I can bring it back. I can bring it back to the topic. I had this great aunt and uncle growing up who we called the puzzle people because they literally just always had like always just like a various like 1,000+ piece puzzle
Wow.
sitting out on a card table in their like dining room. Not a table for food, a table for puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
The dining room? No, I think you mean the puzzle room. And that's on my mom's side of the family, which I think lends credence to my mom is the autism.
Yeah. Honestly, it makes me think about my Uncle Harold too, who, now that I'm thinking about it, so was a trained grandpa. Like, it just, you know, was he also radicalized by Fox News? Yes, indeed. He was, when he was still alive. But I'm just like, it just made me realize that maybe Seventh-day Adventism was actually his special interest, because for a long time he was not religious, and then one day he was, and he's like, oh, I don't eat ham anymore, and everyone in the family was like, what do you mean? All these like Polish Catholic people.
Oh
and
God,
like,
no!
you don't eat ham anymore.
Ham is
Like,
life.
I can't comprehend that. You did for 25 years, and now you're not going to. Like, what's wrong with you? And I think it was just like, oh, I found a thing that really tickles my brain, and I'm gonna lean into it. He also knew a lot about history. Yeah. And actually, it's really interesting because my cousin, who that was her grandfather, is just going through some things now where she's wondering, she's asking a lot of questions about narcissistic personalities. And I want to say, like, I don't actually think it's that.
Yeah.
It's something different than what you think it might be.
Which takes me the astronaut meme. Astronaut meme. I was actually just having this conversation with my partner last night, where I was like, you know, the thing that sucks about neurodivergence and trauma is early trauma is literally a brain injury.
Yep.
And it alters the neurological pathways in your brain, similar to, say, inborn like neurodivergence. And at some point, can you even separate which one is which?
And don't get started on the traumas that can happen to a fetus when they are still in utero.
What?
Ooh.
You know, I don't do anything with babies. I don't know.
I mean, like, when like a gestational parent is in traumatic situations, like, oh my God, again, worked with a child. It's why, like, when you do like assessments for children, they always ask about like any complications in pregnancy, any whatever. And I had this mother tell me basically, like, yeah, this child's father was extremely abusive, and I was in that relationship throughout the pregnancy. And this child never met their father, but during the pregnancy, this mother was like experiencing abuse, so like elevated levels of cortisol, like, and how that can negatively impact brain development in a fetus, like how that can, would like be coerced into taking sleep medication. So like, who knows what effect that may have, like, a number of things.
Well, and like real, like actual physical harm to the gestational carrier parent can do real harm.
Right.
To
the fetus
carrying it.
That coloring book?
It's little postcards.
Oh.
Little postcards you color in.
That's cute.
Right? Thank you. I don't know where I got it. I got this.
That's from Michael.
Amazing. Oh, no, you know when? This was in 2015. This was, wait, Joey, you didn't get this?
I gave that to you.
Yeah.
I did.
Yes.
I just thought, like, as you're describing it, I'm like, that sounds cool. Like something I've purchased before.
Yes. Wait. Did you get me this one or this one?
That I don't remember.
Yeah. So before I went to before I went to rehab in 2015. I love that that's a sentence that I get to say. It makes me feel really cool.
Just rehab.
Just rehab. The
2015 rehab.
20, yeah, not the 2012 edition, the 2015 2.0. I got a
You
lot
had
of
cooler hair then.
absolutely cooler hair. Also more of it because of less long-term damaging effects of the hair. Eating disorders and hair. That's all I'm gonna say. I just had much better hair at times in my life when I was, properly nourishing my body like crazy. But I bought a lot of these like adult coloring books for like mindfulness and blah, 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 blah. So I brought a bunch of this shit with me to St. Louis, and as you can see, as is very clearly evidenced here, I think the most therapeutic aspect of it was buying them and or having them given to me, and not actually doing them, because I did like 2 in
I'm not a fan of adult coloring books. Like, this is stressful to me. Like, the amount of details that are in, that's not enjoyable. Like, I like Hello Kitty coloring books from the dollar store, or I thrift a lot of coloring books. I thrift a lot of vintage coloring books. Will I actually use them? Probably not. But that's fine.
They're fun
It's
to
so
have.
funny to me. Oh, I forgot to wear makeup. It's so funny to me that my mom didn't know that I was autistic. I mean, I don't think that she had any understanding of what autism might look like in like a young Black girl anyway, so it's not really her fault. But I used to say that I had a collection of collections.
I'm obsessed with that.
And my mom was like, that's not a real thing.
Stop.
But I legit, like, obviously I said I collect Beanie Babies. I collect black dolls. I like dolls, but like very specifically black dolls, because there's not enough of them. And I collect bookmarks. I've been collecting soda can tabs, but that's because I want to make jewelry with those. And I, the little plastic, the plastic ring that's on the inside of like the almond milk.
Yeah.
They are fun to use as rings, aren't they?
I started collecting them, but I don't remember why. So there's just a glass jar full of those little plastic things in my kitchen, and I'm like, I don't know. I think maybe I was gonna like give them to Elliot or something to like make art out, but I don't remember.
You're like, no, I can't stop. I've started it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I start collecting something and then I forget. I collected plastic bottle caps for a while. Again, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make art out of this, and then I just ended up having trash. I collected like scraps of like paper because I wanted to like make my own paper, which I did once, and it was kind of cool, but it's like kind of a lengthy process. I also like, you have to like put like the decal or whatever like in like water with like the ground up like paper bits
like
or whatever. Yeah, the pulp. And like now I think I would probably just wear gloves, but like I didn't when I first did it, and like sensory wise, it was so unpleasant. Hell. It was really not great. I don't remember what I was saying besides that I collect collections. Yeah. I just think what's that meme of Martin Richards just like holding the potato?
I just think they're neat. Yes.
I collected cameras for them too.
I just think it's neat.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
was
that's
at
okay.
Last night, helping out with some photos, and I brought like 3 cameras with me.
Amazing.
My DSLR, my film SLR, my Instax, and my phone.
I love that we're back in the place now, like culturally, where like digital cameras
I know.
are a thing.
I mean, Y2K is really in right now. Like, I'm
so fucking weird.
I'm definitely like, I wouldn't say that I'm a hoarder necessarily, but I am the kind of person who like just holds on to things for a really, really long time. And I remember, God, so much dad slander today. That guy fucking sucks.
That guy
he fucking sucks, man.
I love you.
Like, I had like my old digital camera, like one of those like little pocket ones. And like if they had gotten me like a different one that was like a little bit more fancy. And my dad was like, oh, like you don't need that one anymore. You need to give it to so-and-so. And I'm like, I would be the coolest bitch on TikTok if I still had all my old digital cameras. Like, you know what I mean? Like I used to work at Ritz Camera 2, and that was a journey. I mean, I do not miss retail at all. But I do miss printing out my own photos and developing my own film. That was really nice because that shit is not cheap.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's not a cheap hobby.
No.
What's a cheap hobby?
What is a cheap hobby?
Any?
There aren't.
Are there cheap hobbies?
I feel like once it becomes a hobby,
This ain't it.
not cheap.
Dumpster diving.
Ooh.
My favorite cast.
Yeah. What if you have a really walkable city? Could you imagine?
What's that?
What if
What
you
is that?
physically capable of long distance walking? Isn't that crazy?
What if the infrastructure was built so that you could walk sidewalks?
Right?
Wild concept.
What if we had trains? What about
Trains?
trains?
I was gonna say,
Trains.
what if we had effective public transportation? And
This takes me back to my favorite fact that I've learned in the last year, which is, why does Minneapolis have a light rail system? Jesse Ventura. That's why.
yeah.
What?
Just-
I'm confused.
So okay, the pro wrestler Jesse the Body Ventura.
Okay.
Vietnam veteran as well, which makes sense about some other thoughts he has. But
Yeah, Vietnam vet will do.
he's been pretty Agent Oranged.
a lot. Yeah, it'll do a lot there. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But on its face, his political career, low-key, hella based.
He did some great things. He was beloved.
Yeah. So in addition to being a professional wrestler, this man was governor.
Yes.
Yeah, of Minneapolis
Or Minnesota.
And
then he worked.
That's a city.
He tried to unionize the WWF also, and Hulk Hogan
Said not on my watch.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm confused. Light rail?
So he was like, you know what's important in city planning and in taking care of a population? Accessible public transportation.
Wow.
Light rail system.
And Minneapolis has a lovely light rail system. It's what I remember second most. From the fact that, like, besides the fact that the city was just like oddly very sterile is not like a positive enough word, but you know, just like regular old white milk.
Yeah.
Like it's there. It is a city.
It is a city.
Target's there.
Oh God.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
That's the
I
measure.
think that's the one thing I miss the most about living in DC is just being able to hop on the metro. Like I was fortunate enough that like I did have a car when I was in college, but I don't know. There's just something about. One time I took a trip. Like I had moved. I moved to Virginia and then I went back to DC to visit. And I think I had like somebody was supposed to come with me and like I had all these plans and then it like rained all day. So I just like got on the metro and I rode like 8 stops one direction and then just rode back to where I was because I was like, I don't have shit else to do. So I'm just going to ride the metro until I have to leave. And I would kill for, are you kidding me?
Oh my
if
God.
I could just like get off of work and go ride the metro. Like I miss like having opportunities to read, like being able to. So I took a bus trip with Lou a couple weeks ago, and we went on a bus trip to DC, And Lou is very much a passenger princess, so I'm usually always the one driving. And like just being able to read for like half an hour straight was so pleasing to me. Like, and just being able to like get from point A to point B and not having to be the person who has to focus and concentrate on how you're getting there. Just amazing. I love that.
The uninterrupted read time is literally the only reason to go to Quaker meetings, for starters. And also when I was in grad school, I had like one class in Philly a week, but I lived here. So I would get like a 10 pass ride with Amtrak and just take the train out there. And that was like the best, because I didn't want to have to be responsible for like being mentally present to get me to but also I think DC's public transit system is far superior to Philly's.
I've never is it SEPTA in Philly? I've never been on it.
Don't go on the times that any sport team is playing at all, ever. Don't do it. It was before an Eagles game, and everyone was already belligerently drunk.
That's literally before or after any Orioles game in Baltimore.
Yeah. Fucking O's.
I think every time Beaver goes to see the Orioles, he does see a fist fight happen between fans on the Metro at some point.
No, without a doubt in my mind. Without a doubt in my mind.
I don't understand sports.
I
just had this conversation with a newer to me colleague at work, because the kids were talking about sports, and I was like, I'm not really a sports person. And she was like, oh, thank God, someone else. I'm like, now horse racing, I do have bookies in my family. And that's a different story. But overall,
this is cultural, okay? I need you to respect this.
Gambling is my culture. Let's not get that twisted. Making sure I know where my $10 is.
Oh my God. That is my culture. Listen, I grew up like an hour's drive from Saratoga, okay? You don't have to talk to me about horse racing.
Yeah.
I don't care about it, but I have been there multiple times.
Wild. My family. So one time, my mom got upset with me because I wore a pair of earrings that had dice on them to church.
Stop.
So I feel like that tells you all you need to know about how my family feels about gambling. Personally, for me,
your mom could have a lot of conversations with my mother-in-law, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think like I prefer to go to the arcade because like if I'm going to the arcade, I don't have to pretend like I'm not wasting my money. But if I feel like if I go to the casino, I'm like, oh, I'm going to make this back. It's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to, like, I mean, to be fair, I have never been to a casino as an adult. But again, like, I prefer to go to the arcade and play DDR until I can't feel my legs anymore. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would much rather play games of chance for tickets that will help me buy silly little prizes than for real money. What? That's no. Nope. We don't need to do that. That's foolishness.
I want to say there's some like national, not Subway, sub chain that is essentially doing gambling, but instead of winning money, you're winning subs.
What? I would gamble for subs.
I was just told about this by possibly not the world's most reliable source, but I'm willing to look it up because I really hope it's Jersey Mike's, because also that would be extraordinarily on brand.
Oh my God. Could you imagine a Jersey Mike's gambling ring? Could you imagine the subculture? Could you imagine getting your legs, the getting your kneecaps broken by someone over a Jersey Mike's sub? Just think on that for just a second, just a little bit here. And they say white people don't have culture.
I'm like, I couldn't even tell you where Jersey Mike's is.
It's literally one downtown.
Oh. I don't think there's ever been a time in my life where I'm like, I think I'm gonna go to Jersey Mike's.
Me either. I know about it.
Oh God, Jersey Mike's is Christian?
No! Take it
Yeah.
back. Take it all
But
back.
Jersey Mike's engages sports fans with tailgate trivia, which I guess is like sports betting.
Stop.
Does everybody else get those gambling and casino ads a lot?
Yeah.
I don't know. For where? For places around here?
I think it's called MGM. I don't know. I think it's I don't pay attention that close. I like it when I get ads that are irrelevant to me because that means they're wasting their ad dollars. So when those commercials come on, I'm like, wow, this is so relevant.
I'm going to watch this in its entirety.
I love to gamble and spend money. I also get a lot of ads for hymns. And I'm like, you're so close. You're
It's
like
just
so you're so close, but you're just not, you're missing it a little bit.
You know, that's called gender euphoria.
Right?
When the ads misgender you, but almost correctly.
Yeah. Love that.
Oh, Lord. Okay, I personally, me, Cameron, is really enjoying this. Me, Cameron as a concept, Cameron as a content creator is like, I wonder how relevant this is to anyone's interests outside of the three of us sitting here.
I think it is relevant because there have been some really good things said. And I feel like this was, thus far, has been substantial without being deeply traumatizing, as the religious trauma.
Which is a change for us.
It is a change, yeah. Yeah. It's just not as horrifying, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, we can respect a tonal shift. That's okay. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say my most toxic trait as a creative, and I'm gonna I think if Tara either watches these or sees them later or shit.
Someone's watching. There's one person watching this.
Woo! This goes out to you, one person. My most toxic trait as a creative is in any project that I'm a part of collaboratively, I take zero responsibility for any of the forethought for
That's true. I disagree. I'm gonna perception check you. That's just
I'm just
you took the lead on this.
You're well, okay. In regards to knowing things or producing things, I like situations where I am the content. I don't have to create the content.
Fair.
Which I think is also true of my time in Countersuits, where I was like, if I had to be booking these shows, no shows would happen. If I had to be creating merch, obtaining merch, selling merch, none of it would happen. I literally show up, I do the thing, and I'm like, I don't want a single person to acknowledge my existence or what just happened. Just siphon it off, lock it in the vault, and slam that baby shut for the rest of your day.
So this format works. This format works for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Because like the recording of us is just a different us. I don't know these people at all. It's fine.
Exactly. Where is it?
Maybe I didn't put it.
It's
hidden behind.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it's honestly, it's honestly fucking homophobic to me specifically that you have the Noera show set up above the Countersuit set list.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Not my ex-girlfriend who ghosted me after 2 years.
I love Gully Boys. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm sorry. I'll put some tape. I'll put some
Just
tape
tape
over it.
over nowhere.
Be like, yeah, it was a short bill.
God damn it. That's another reason that I don't go to Philly. I'm like, oh man, I love cities. Oh man. And then I'm like, bleh. No.
Yeah.
I went there last weekend for the Chapel Rowan show, which was amazing, stunning,
Did you see Majesty?
fantastic.
Jade?
Yes. Yes. Oh my god, Majesty's number was
She's amazing.
I think that is so fun that this girl has just decided, like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to create a drag persona that exists literally for me to make music about my experiences, that is fictionalized, but like real enough that it feels like it matters. But also I'm going to be I am not going to conceal the fact that this is me like doing drag of my own experience. And I'm going to make that very clear to you by having my openers be drag artists. This is not like a music situation. This is a drag show where I just happen to like run around and sing on stage. Like, love that for her. But yeah, it was fantastic. There was like nary a straight in sight. But it was weird. I know. Right? I'm like, yes, that is the sweet spot. But I'm like, it is stressing me out that I have plans now 2 times this month to be in Philly. Granted, I literally just drove there for the concert and then left. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing for Kesha as well. Also while just like sobbing the entire drive home. Like I'm prepared. I'm already prep hydrating for the show, which is 10 days from now, so that I can just sob. Yeah, Philly's in fucking. No disrespect to Philly.
I don't know. It's stressful to me. I don't know. I keep forgetting that like I'm more comfortable with DC because I lived there for a little while. But I'm going to see. I don't know. Do you meet me at the altar?
Yeah.
Meet me at the altar and Honey Revenge and Elliot Lee and some guy. I don't know who the guy is.
Some guy.
But I'm really excited. But like they're doing like back to back like DC and like Philly or something. For some reason the tickets in Philly were like $100 fucking.
Ew.
So I'm gonna go to DC for that show. But
9:30 Club.
I think so.
Hell yeah.
Which is great because that's like one of my favorite.
I was gonna say I love it there.
I'm a little nervous though because I think last time I was in that area, it was very gentrified and like next I remember when I was in college, like the 9:30 Club, like the kind of like alley next to the club, just like not a place that you really want to find yourself in. Like you go to the 9:30 Club or you go to McDonald's. You don't stop in between those 2 points. And I think last time I was there, they have like high rises like in the buildings now, like on top. Like I don't know if the 9:30 Club is on the bottom of a building. I would hope not. I don't know why the fuck you would build an apartment building on top of it. Do they have apartments on top of HMAC?
No.
Okay.
No. It's just more space for horrors.
Sins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was devastated.
We can't talk about HMAC publicly. Remember that, everybody.
As a fun fact, we absolutely can because they never found me.
That's true.
They don't know who the fuck I am.
You're coming to us from an undisclosed location.
From an undisclosed location, absolutely. Try to serve me now, John Trainer.
God, wonder what happened to him. Like, he's still over there?
He lives half of the time in Perry County and half of the time in fucking Italy, I guess, allegedly. But also, last I was aware, and this was a couple years old, so who knows, but he's still contracted with HMAC, so despite not being an owner and allegedly not profiting from the business anymore, that's a lie. So who knows?
I have a couple. I'm like now in the unique position of having like some Gen Z coworkers, and one of my coworkers was going over there for like a thing, and I was like, I remember when I used to go over there and I had to hold the bathroom door shut for my
Yeah.
it didn't work.
I remember when I probably can't say that on the internet.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's why I told like the least exciting HVAC story.
Yeah.
Not things that are gonna get me fired. Or...
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna get me fired, but it's a really funny thing to think about because I'm like, I don't know who that bitch was, but I've only been there like once or twice, and like I remember we went with Lou. I went with Lou, and like I was probably drunk. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But it's like talking to this guy, and I was like, I've never touched a beard before.
Stop!
So let me touch his beard. And I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I mean, it was made out with somebody. I think that like Lou and I might have made out, and then some girl was like, "I saw both of you kissing, and I've never kissed a girl before."
Stop.
So then we each kissed the girl as well.
Yeah.
That's hilarious to me. Like, I don't know. One, post-COVID, disgusting.
So
What? That's wild. Yeah.
So the night my best friend got engaged, we went there because there was a band there we wanted to see. This was before we like really knew how icky things had been there.
Probably like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, oh fuck.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So she was getting engaged, like we knew it was gonna happen. And when we got there, they're just like projecting hentai, but also like very specific anthropomorphic hentai with like centaurs, like just on the screen, like on the wall.
Of course
when we got there.
Of course they are.
Okay.
What is happening?
Of course they are. Also, at that point, wasn't the only thing they had the stage on her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't have food yet.
Yeah.
There were sometimes crepes. And like you could order them, but they were never going to come out. Like I remember very clearly, we had to bring our own mixers.
Yeah.
Like they would just give us straight liquor, and we'd have to like mix that up ourselves.
Yeah. Yep.
God, I will never forget. There was a guy dressed up as like fucking Don Johnson from whatever Miami Vice. Because there was some like throwback night at a different, I think at ABC, and they came over there, and he came over and is like talking to my best friend and I just remember looking at him and I went, oh, so this was a choice, the outfit. Like,
I'm obsessed with the way that you speak to men. Just between that and Rob.
God,
obsessed.
The fact that I'm not even going to repeat the things that I used to say to him.
No.
Fact. Like,
no.
Just mean.
It's bad. But to be fair, it's on him for dating a child. So
that's true. You know what though? Once I was an adult dating another adult, even my dad was like, "You're really mean to people." Where my mom, on the other hand, was like, "You're too nice. You're way too nice to everybody."
Yeah.
It was a weird combo.
And that's on living in a matriarchy, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Good times.
Yeah. How long do you usually like?
Usually about an hour-ish. I mean,
yeah.
Think of
yeah. I
want to say.
Yeah. Do we have any closing thoughts? Any, I don't know, thoughts on creation? Thoughts on?
I have a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I make zines, which are mini magazines for anyone who doesn't know. They're like self-published works, basically. And I've been doing a challenge called Zine-tober. So there's like there's a theme for like every day the month, but I just made it my goal to make at least one zine every week. And I was just like, I just want to make 4 zines. And I think I've made about 4 already,
Hell yeah.
which is good because I have to go out of town for work. So that's not going to happen. But, and it's been really, really fun. Like I said, I've been doing jewelry making for about 4 years, but I really struggle with perfectionism a lot. So I went from like doing like a couple zines every year to like just going like 1 to 2 year span between even when I make one. And like I have a lot of ideas and like I have a lot of drafts, but like I get so stuck on like, okay, got to make sure I place this here and place this there. And like, am I going to do multimedia? Like, and I'm also just like having a lot of issues with my computer, which makes it hard to edit. So trying to like work around that problem. But it's been really nice making the zines this month. And I feel like it's real help kind of like push me past that perfectionism that I've been struggling with. But I also just think that it's just so important to like make things and to like, for me to like keep track of like your own history and your own like progress. Lou and I went to the I always forget exactly what it's called, but basically the African American History Museum in DC. That was a wild ride. It took us 4 hours to get through the whole thing. I had to take at least 2 breaks because like the whole first floor is just like the transatlantic slave trade. So that's like kind of, it's a bummer. It's pretty rough. But it left me with a lot of feelings, which I still have to like process. But it just made me think about like how important it is to like write your own story. And because it's like, you know, people make it seem like trans identities are a new thing, but that's just because like all of the like documentation we had on trans lives got destroyed. So it's like sometimes I feel silly. Like I've been recording so much of like my own life between like, I think I started journaling when I was like maybe 10 or 11. And I journaled, I had like one journal for like every school year. It just kind of so happened that like I would go through it in the school year. And then I started using Xanga when I was in high school.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Xanga so long.
I fucking love Xanga. Like Xanga and like DeviantArt. And then like I started using Tumblr in like 2007, 2008. And
those were the peak years for Tumblr, in my personal opinion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was amazing. But it's like, I still have a lot of that stuff, but I've also like lost a lot. You know what I mean? Like I said, like Xanga, it does exist, but like not in a way where you can like actually view any of the stuff that you posted like 10, 12 years ago. But yeah, I think it's so important to just kind of like write your own history. I think that's like why I'm really hoping to get back into doing zine workshops, because like my ultimate goal is just to prove to people that like your story is worth sharing. Like you are worth hearing, and like you don't have to wait for somebody else to be like, this is good, we should share it. Like you could just do whatever you want. And like zines are so easy. Like you can make a zine out of like a sheet of paper, or you can go really elaborate with it and do like a lot of different binding with like beads or brads. Like it's just, the possibilities are literally endless. And it's such a fun medium. And I went to this convention called Small Press Expo, which is held every year in Maryland. And I hadn't been back since like 2019. So it was like really amazing to be there again. And I was smart and I brought a bunch of zines with me and a bunch of stickers, and like I was just connecting with people, and like I got so many zines. I did a lot of zine trades. And I just think community, like finding community in that has been really helpful. I think it's been tricky for me. I feel like it's been tricky since I left Tumblr, like trying to cultivate like community online. Like, and I'm like, maybe I'm wrong, and like, cause I'm not really a Twitter person, but like, I don't know. But the internet has also changed a lot. Like, I don't know if we still have, like, I know like Reddit exists, and like I'm trying to learn how to use it, but like Facebook and Instagram and like even TikTok, like it's shifted from this like connection with other people to like this automatic feed because of the like just feeding you what they think that you should be watching, in a way that does not lend to you like really connecting with other people as much.
Well, that is really similar to something you said in the beginning, which stuck with me, which is it then becomes competition for the algorithm. Like it's not really community. It's not like finding people and learning things. It's just competing for what gets seen first.
Yeah. I'll tie it back and then I'll try to reel it in. But that kind of ties it back. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but I am in an art studio collective with 3 of my friends called the Garden Collective. We're in Harrisburg, in Midtown. We've been open for about I think it's going maybe 2 years. And it's amazing. I think, like I said earlier, if you would have told me at 16 that I would have an art studio or that I'd be in an art collective, but with my friends, I probably wouldn't believe you. We do a variety of events, and we're still kind of trying to get our footing, but we have open studios sometimes, which is just an opportunity for people to come into our space and work on whatever craft they have. Or sometimes we have coloring pages if you just want to hang out and meet some other artists in the area. We've been doing a couple art markets. I think we've done 2 or 3 art markets so far. We do have one coming up in December. We are currently looking for vendors. And it's important to me that folks know that we do not charge anything for you to vend at our art markets. We're not a nonprofit or a profit. We're just a group of friends who realize how important it is for artists to have space to share their work and to be able to make money off of the things that they enjoyed making. Our next art market will be December 15th. It'll be 3rd in the Berg in December. And I don't fully have the details for this yet, so I can't say much, but we had our first music show over the summer, which was really awesome. And as somebody who was really deep into the local music scene when I was in high school, that was really, really cool. And we have a show coming up in November. I think it's Saturday, November 18th. Like I said, I don't fully have the details on that right now, or else I would give you more. And we are not on Facebook because we all hate Facebook, but you can find us on Instagram, and we have our own website. It's just the Garden Collective HBG, and that's on Instagram. That's where we're most active. So yeah, if you are an artist who would like to sell your work, please fill out our vendor form. It's kind of like a first come, first serve sort of thing, but we do our best to prioritize queer and trans people of color. They're first. Sorry, that's just how it is. But yeah, I think I just wanted to mention that. And as always, just encourage people to make art, whatever your art may be. That's coloring or, just scribbling words on a page. I guess I didn't really mention the music thing, but I don't really have any updates for that right now.
That's okay.
But I do make music sometimes. I'm trying to get back into it. Full on Monet, I did a split with one of my childhood artist faves a couple years ago. My music, I have 2 songs that are literally pressed on vinyl, which is crazy to me. Again, if you'd have told me at 16, I would have been like, what are you talking about? That's not real. But yeah, I just encourage you to just try and be creative in any way. I think that it's good for our brains, and especially we're living in such an awful oppressive society. And I feel if we don't create, we might just explode. So, at least that's how I feel.
Yeah. Relatable. Absolutely.
Well, I'm so glad we got to have you on. This has been just a really great conversation, and really an example of why I wanted to do this, because I've met so many people and just have started to see the development of community through my preferred craft. And I think that not taking advantage of those things or not being able to, people tend to miss out. And I have just loved hearing everything you have to say. You've made some really amazing points and just said thoughtful, meaningful stuff that I'm going to ponder on for a little while longer. But I'm probably going to just hit end the stream. It'll end the recording. Again, thank you so much for coming. Next month, we're going to, I think, just be me and Cam, but I'm hoping to get more guests on. We're going to be talking about DBT.
DBT.
Oh man.
Hell yeah. Oh, We did it.
We did it. Thank you again. Everyone have a good night. Stay free of the sports games.
Yeah. Oh my God. What a good benediction.
Yes.
That's-
Stay free of the sports
Stay
games.
free of the sports games. Oh my God. There was, one couple weekends ago. Did you hit stop the stream?
Hold on.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
I'm gonna try. Ah.
Ah.